Hey, welcome to another episode of Say More Words. The song of the day is Once Upon a Time by, I think it's Mary Lynn is how she says her name. I don't know. The song became popular because of TikTok, and whenever I hear it, it gets stuck in my head and repeat, and it's here right now. It's in my head, and so go listen to it. We have also created a Spotify playlist for the podcast that you'll see in the show notes. So go check that out. It's just all things that are good. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to be fully honest with you right now with the fact that the hardest part about filming and recording the podcast is the fact that I can't play music while I'm doing it. For copyright reasons and things like that. Just know that in my head, the background song is that song. Today, I am introducing you to my world, the world of personal development, the world that I live in. And part of the reason why I started the podcast is so that more people could be exposed to the concepts that I teach, the thoughts that I have, the different things that I do to be successful, and the different things that the people in my life do to be successful. Say More Words exists so that you can hear more. And today is my world and the world of personal development. The funny thing about personal development is it's personal, it's yours, and you can't do it alone. You have to have somebody else in your life who is helping you on the personal development journey. Why? Because you won't call yourself out on your own bullshit. Fun fact, you will not. So it's important for you to have somebody in your life that keeps you accountable, that you can bounce ideas off of, that you can have in-depth conversations with so that you have the opportunity to build a foundation and grow. That's why people hire me. That's why people are friends with me. I almost require, if you're in my life, that some form of growth is happening. So personal development, there's multiple different avenues, and people think that because they listen to a podcast, which thank you for being here and listening to my podcast, they think that just listening to a podcast is personal development or just reading a book is personal development. And all that is fact finding. It is not an active thing to do to read a book or listen to a podcast. You actually have to implement the things that you're learning. So if you haven't implemented anything that you've learned in my podcast, go back, listen again, and then come back to this episode. But in personal development, there's different avenues you can take. And you can work with a coach, you can work in a coaching group, you can go to conferences, all of which I do all of those things. You can take a class, and if you take the class and implement what was in the class, you are working on your personal development, but you are more successful if you're working on it with a group of people. I just got back. I have a coach. So if you have a coach and your coach doesn't have a coach, I'm telling you right now, you need to run for the hills. My coaches are amazing, and they just put on a conference this weekend in Indiana. So depending on when you're listening to this, it could have been a couple weeks ago. It could have been this past weekend, but we were in Indiana for a conference. And people ask me and my husband all the time, why do you go to conferences? Why do you take the weekends? What are you doing? And in these personal development conferences, it is iron sharpening iron. Inside of the room this weekend were people way more successful than me, who make way more money, are further along on the path, really big names in the country, in finance, in music, there's a couple NFL players. Like there is an eclectic energy when you bring a bunch of people who come together for commonalities. And our commonality is that we wanted to learn more about money mindset. So we were all in the room. There's about 150 of us learning together from people who are on the stage, bringing forth just different topics. And I have always loved that environment when I worked in higher education. My favorite thing was to go to conferences and learn from other people who have done it before, so that it's not as hard for me to do it. But also, While I love the people that are on stage, I love the conversations that happen around the table, at the bar, in the lobby. It's the connections that you make with other people who are doing the same thing as you, or maybe they're not even doing the same thing as you, but they are on the same personal development path. Inside of the room this weekend was majority of chiropractors and service providers too, which is why I was allowed to be there, but majority chiropractors. And the conversations we were having were on growth, mindset, where we're going, what we're doing. And while we're not in the same industry, we could still have those conversations. That's why conferences are important. Personal development conferences are so important because you're surrounded by people who are doing the same thing as you. They're on that journey of personal development and growth. You find people who will hype you up, who will support you, who will hug you when you cry or jump on stage to help you out with anything that's going on. What's really interesting is that majority of the world doesn't get to go to things like this. I leave conferences hyped up. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to take on the world. And that's why it's so very important. That's part of the reason why I put on my own personal development conferences, because I want you, one, to see your potential, two, learn something new, but three, get hyped up to take over whatever goals you need to, or whatever goals you're going after. It does not matter if you are a small business owner or you work in a career, or maybe you're a stay-at-home mom. Everyone leaves my environment ready to be a better person. Inside of my Evolve conferences, I teach on different ways to enhance joy in the world and to spread compliments and to organize your life and pack more efficiently. We look at all different things that affect our mind, body, spirit, soul, life, like external relationships, internal relationships. And so majority of the population doesn't go to conferences like this because they think that they don't belong, or they think it's like a corporate. How many people have gone to corporate conferences where they're learning about parts and blah, 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 bullshit that makes you want to sleep, but you get to hang out with your colleagues afterwards at the bar on the company's card, so you're just like, whatever. Inside of personal development conferences, it's different because we're working on ourselves and we're hyped up and we're excited. And that's why it's important to try and find some sort of personal development conference each quarter so that you can have that inspiration and that guidance and that accountability, and you can find others who are doing the same. So that's why we go to these conferences and these seminars all the time. It's why I put these on, because I want you to be successful, and it's impossible to be successful alone. There are some people who are going to think that that's not a true statement, but it is impossible to be successful alone. And that's primal, right? We would have not made it alone in the wilderness by ourselves. We can't make it alone in the wilderness that is our world. And so going to these seminars, learning more, getting involved with other people who are doing the same thing, it gives you support, it gives you accountability, and it gives you others to talk to, but it also gives you a place to impart your knowledge as well, so that you can also grow, because the more that you can give other people your knowledge and things that you do, the more that you also grow. So inside of the world of personal development, yes, it's personal, but you can't do it alone. And I think that is one of the most beautiful, wonderful things, that you can't do it alone. Inside of my world and my conferences, inside of the inner circle, we don't do it alone. It's much easier to climb a hill with other people. It's much easier to eat an elephant with a bunch of people as opposed to just yourself. So that support, that accountability, that caring, and personal development, it's not just for, like I said, it's not just for business owners. It's for career people as well. It's for the stay-at-home moms. It's for people who are looking to better their relationships, who are looking to build generational wealth. If they're looking to break through generational trauma, personal development is for everybody. I may not be for everybody, but there are other people who put on these conferences all over the country very regularly. If you're just dipping your toe into the world of changing your mindset, I'm going to tell you the best place to start is inside of a conference. So I highly suggest that you enter my world. You're already in my world. You're listening to my podcast. You are probably going to buy my book when it comes out. And you're probably going to attend one of my conferences. But if you're inside of my world, feel free. I'm going to link in the show notes links to all of my events, to other speaking gigs that I have, to different events that are going on. I highly suggest you go anywhere, get connected, find other people who are on the journey with you, and rub elbows with them. Find an accountability partner, read a book, listen to a podcast, but most importantly, take action on whatever it is that you learn. Shout it from the rooftops, tell everybody. Personal development is truly for everybody. Your life, your relationships, and your career are going to be better for it. So thanks for listening to Say More Words today. Let me know in the show notes, in the comments, what personal development you're working on, what books you're reading, what podcasts are you listening to enhance your mind. Let the community know. Don't hold out on that secret. I hope you guys have a great week, and I'll talk to you next week. Bye.